All right. So what'll happen is the first thing I'm streaming is just a blank screen.
The frigid air, the stillness of the night. Perhaps a dream, a fabric for a nightmare. And I don't know if I should join the chase. With caution to the wind, I make my way. An invitation to advance somewhere. We travel on together with a trust that hasn't been established yet. The frigid air, the stillness of the night. I met a hunter with a tree. Perhaps a dream, a fabric for a nightmare. And I don't know if I should join the chase.
Good morning and welcome to You Can't Say That. I'm Greg Aldridge.
And I'm Al Bedrosian.
Good morning, Al.
Good morning. We're back again, back together.
Yeah. So this is our first official show. We'll call it. We'll call it the pilot, I suppose. It's been a while. Bear with us. We're still working out all the technical issues, but we think we've got it together enough to do a show. So here it is.
Okay.
It's very bright where you
We should
are.
talk a little. Should we introduce people? We should tell a little bit about ourselves, right? Because you're a far right winger. I'm a I'm a no, I don't know what preconceived ideas people have. So I'll just let people know I'm a Christian conservative. So everything I view is kind of through that lens. I love America, and I think Greg and I both love America. So everything we talk about, we try to make it's the greatest country on earth. And how do we make it better? How do we expose things that are ruining it? And I'm telling you, America, everybody loves America. So don't believe all those little hate mongers that down America all the time. We're the greatest country on earth. And we got to just continue. We got to make it better.
Well, I thank you. That's very upbeat.
I think so.
I love the America we're supposed to have. I'm not in love with the one we have turned into.
Yeah. That's fair to say.
On paper,
but it's the best that we can deal with right now. Yeah.
Yeah. On paper, this is brilliant. In practice, but it's not. It's just the way people are. Anything good can be screwed up by enough human beings.
I think that's probably true. Well, it's just like anything, right? I mean, if you get multiple people in on it trying to fiddle with it, and there's a part of it that's good. Everybody works for their own self-interest, which is an okay concept because that's how things get done. The only problem I've found in this whole thing is how we've allowed that money pot in government that everybody wants their own self-interest and they just grab at that. And that's been the biggest problem. Everybody just grabbing at that money and it's just driven us right
money,
down.
Power. And we created one of the most amazing civilizations in the history of the world, most powerful civilizations in the history of the world. And of course, that's going to bring bad people out of the woodwork to take control of that power to use it for their own ulterior motives.
Absolutely.
So for topics, basically what we're going to talk about on the show is kind of things that are going on as they go. But Al and I tend to not say what you hear on the regular news constantly. We'll say the things that need to be said that we're told we can't say. That's why we call this You Can't Say That. Now, you want to talk about the debates?
Well, definitely, I would love to talk about and even go back a little bit to Trump's performance, and then go back to Mike Pence. And actually, the amazing thing is, I watched both from beginning to end. So I've never done that before. Actually, I always just catch little bits because they're quite boring. I mean, and you're not going to get it's the same old answers, but I thought it was important in this one. I mean, I think first of all, on the Biden one, we all were anticipating what's Biden going to do. We kind of knew what Trump was all about, but I think I was more excited actually about the Pence Kamala one. I thought that was actually more revealing.
Yeah, because you had in that one, you had two people that are prone to it, at least speaking in clear sentences and trying to be calm and actually engage, rather than just I didn't watch but just the tiniest little bit of the Trump Biden debate, but what I did see was quite combative. And the section I saw, Trump was it was combating was it Chris Wallace? Was that who the moderator was?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty bad when when your opponent and the moderator team up on you. Now I'm sure that the Biden people don't see it that way, but again, I'm not a Trump person either. Um,
Right.
I'm not here to down Trump or attack Trump. I'm not a Trump hater. It's over time you'll figure this out. So don't have a knee jerk reaction to the fact that I don't jump on the Republican bandwagon of everything that comes down the pike because you have to vote for the lesser of two evils, or because it's the best we got, or the if we let the Democrats win, it'll be so much worse. Whatever the argument is, I don't see things that way anymore. It's not that I
Right. And I think, and Greg, between you and I mean, I think one of the differences you'll maybe see as we talk, and we're on the same rough page, but I do think it comes down to a better of two evils, and in a biblical sense, it's kind of like the better of two sinners. I mean, the reality is everybody's flawed, and to an extent, politicians, their ego is huge, and you may, and they talk about Trump, but Biden's got a big ego, Kamala Harris got a big ego, and I would have to say Mike Pence, even though I think he's a more restrained individual, he's also got an ego in order to get where he is. And I didn't know that he was a radio guy before. I actually went and listened to a couple of his shows. Mike Pence was a radio guy in Indiana. Not too bad. He wasn't that great, but
he's way too good good looking for that.
he's way too good looking to be a politician.
Yeah, well, to be a radio host.
Oh, radio guy. Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
What?
Have you seen?
What are you saying about us? I guess we're now okay. We're not really radio guys. We're podcast guys.
I started off in radio. I mean, I have my 25 years is in my career in media began in radio. I love radio. Radio is not what it used to be because the technology moved forward, which is why we're here. So now people get to see me. Before, you could hide behind the microphone. It was all about the words and what you look like.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. This reminds me of when MTV killed the radio star back in the early 80s. Because you didn't see artists in conjunction with their music. You heard them. You listened, you heard them. You saw them in concert, you may saw pictures in a magazine, but MTV changed it. It was no longer about just the sound. Now it was the look and appearance and fashion and all those things wrapped up in it. And that's kind of what's happened. I think that's what's happened in news media. Initially it was the written word and, live oratory perhaps. But television and now the internet has really ushered in a dramatic change in what attracts people and what people in news, journalism, and media, have to do. It's a different world. So at any rate, yeah, the only reason why I watched the Trump debate is because I saw an article the next day about how Trump refused to denounce white supremacy. And that just sounded wrong because I remember tweets and I remember, I don't know, was it the State of the Union address and all these times where I remember him talking about white supremacy or fascists or whatever and denouncing it. So when I saw that, I was like, I don't know, this sounds stupid. It sounds like, fake news nonsense. So it was somebody that I knew on Facebook that posted this. And so I was interested enough to check out just that one thing. I did not want to watch the whole debate. I can't stand to sit through them. They drive me absolutely nuts. But I wanted to find out about that one question. And of course, I found out the answer was in addition to the numerous times before the debate he denounced white supremacy. And I've got video clips of that. If anybody doesn't believe it, there's a montage. He did denounce it. The first thing out of his mouth when he's asked that is sure. And then he goes to be combative with Chris Wallace because Chris Wallace is up to something. It's not about denouncing white supremacy. It was about forcing Trump to take the same perspective of all of these groups right now that are protesting and that are in the public square screaming about one thing or another. It was about pigeonholing him into denouncing everybody as if all of those groups should be viewed by everybody the way the left views them. If Chris Wallace thinks you're a white supremacist group and Joe Biden thinks you're a white supremacist group, then you're a white supremacist group and Trump has to denounce you. Well, the reality is a lot of things they're calling white supremacy isn't white supremacy. A lot of things they're calling racism isn't racism. A lot, so
Correct.
forcing him to agree with your definition and then pigeonholing him into having to denounce something based on your own definition, that's ridiculous. And so I get why he became combative and started arguing with Chris Wallace, because they were up to something. I mean, they had
Maybe
no
the better
clear
thing,
motive there.
right? Maybe the better thing, though, Greg, would have been for him to say exactly what you just said. That to Chris Wallace, and the funny thing is that I think what they're trying. Well, let me just. I think you're exactly right in your thing. Let me go back to one little thing I wrote down here. First of all, clearing up Charlottesville. I think we've got to do this. And I got so mad at our local radio station, WFIR, about a year ago because they kept repeating the lie. And the lie was that Trump was saying they're good people on both sides, meaning like they're good neo-Nazis and they're good whatever. But his deal was this whole issue was about the monuments. If you remember, it was about tearing down monuments. And Trump's thing was they're good people on both sides of this monument tearing down issue. I got it. They're good people that think that we're putting up people that maybe, we're condoning slavery and we're good with that. And then they're good people on the other side that think it's part of our heritage and we should keep it up. So Trump was basically saying there were good people on both sides of that argument. But the media, and I wish Trump would have just stopped everything right there and said, Chris, you're lying. Stop it.
Well,
and just say, let me say what I said on the Charlotte, because the Charlotte thing is the only reason that Biden got into the race, he says. So if you nipped it right there, Biden would look pretty dumber than he does.
I think you're asking for a lot from these people because, first of all, there's not a disagreement over what happened in Charlottesville because the truth hasn't gotten out, right? There's a disagreement because one side wants to lie about what happened because they have a political purpose for that. We're not going to educate them out. We're not going to get the word out and the truth. But
Trump had an opportunity the people on the national stage to actually give a coherent answer. And for some reason, he still wants to be combative. I would just say, Trump, I love the way Trump does it. I would just leave Trump alone because Trump has been successful beyond any measure we all try to analyze him. I'm good with Trump being Trump. But on a couple little things like Trump, your combativeness is not allowing people to know what the truth was. Just say that one thing about Charlottesville and it would end everything, because everything is built on Charlottesville. All this racism, everything we've had is all Charlottesville centered. Nip it.
Well, let me tell you why that won't work. It won't work.
Let me get my Trump.
There you go.
This is my Trump mug that my daughter got me when she went to Vegas and stayed with her husband in the Trump hotel.
So the reason why that won't work, Al, is because him just saying it properly and getting and dealing with it is not going to end the disagreement. It's not going to change half the country's mind who believes who they believe about it. Trump saying the truth doesn't matter if the people who don't believe the truth already are not going to believe it from him or anybody else. And it's not that we have that in general people have a disagreement over what happened in Charlottesville. It's that there's a disagreement over what happened specifically because it's being lied about. And those lies are told because you have a group of people who that's the lie they want to hear. And they're waiting for the people they trust in media, in news, in whatever, in politics to say that side of it. Trump, there's no ending it. It's and after the debate's over, the news the next day would still be just like it was with the whole you didn't denounce white supremacy. They'll lie about that. So it won't matter if he gets it right. Because they're going to say what they're going to say the next day anyway, and that's what's in the news. And even Fox News was reporting stories about Trump not denouncing white supremacy. So it's everybody was doing it. And I'm angry, frankly, that people are this stupid, this evil, have these horrible ulterior motives that they forced me to waste a half an hour of my life watching part of that debate just to make sure I was still right about them all lying about everything. And that's exactly what happened. I watched, I found the clip, I saw what happened. Everything everybody was saying about it was absolutely false. I knew it was false before I even looked, but I had to be sure. I had to see it so I would know, not just believe because what they say is always false. Well, this is going to be false too.
Yeah.
I had to see it, which was a waste of my time because it was exactly what I thought. And it doesn't matter that he denounced it. It whatever he says, they're going to figure out a way to say that's different the next day. We're we're broken. Hey, I think you muted. Did you mute you?
Well, okay, yeah, and I won't deny that's
Uh-oh.
what's that?
It appears we're experiencing temporary
You think
difficulty.
I'm muted?
There's Al. Did you mute yourself?
Oh, did I get muted? I don't think so.
I think you got muted.
I think I'm still good.
All right, there you go. What is up with that? Try
Did
now.
it sound like I'm muted? I feel like I'm on. I did not. I see it on the screen. I did not.
Weird.
Well, I'm not doing it there, so I don't know why. Okay. It was on, but
Yeah, your audio is cutting in and out for some reason. I don't. It's like I'll hear a few words and then not.
So
It comes on, it comes off. I wonder if are you? I wonder if we have. Well, if we had an internet issue on your end, the picture would look bad. I
the,
guess.
uh, can you hear me now?
Same thing. It's like off,
Okay,
like
the
off and on.
old. Can you hear me now? Yes, you can.
Huh. All right. Let's see. What if I do that? No. All right.
You
So
can hear me.
I'm gonna see if we can
Or,
fix this
or
difficulty, and we'll be back.